Hey everybody, my name is Peter. This is MinMaxGames. We're here in the studio and let's talk about the market. All right, so it's been about 3 months since my last market update and a lot has happened since then. We're talking about the hunted, we're talking about supply of the boxes, we're talking about singles, where things are, Command and Conquer for instance. So let's get right into it. We're going to start by talking about the hunted as a set overall. So I wrote an article a few months back and we did a video on it that I believe this would be the most expensive Flesh and Blood set that we've ever seen. And it looks like I was right. Partially, it's because the new map pricing for this product. So boxes are on average, I think $10 to $12 more expensive. We're currently selling boxes at $105. If you can get them between $100 and $105, that's pretty good right now. The two sides of the story is the sealed side and then the singles. So let's start with talking about boxes. So we were in Memphis a week or so ago. Before that, we were in Prague. And this set is crazy. People love it. People have been consuming it. Boxes are flying off the shelves. Cases are flying off the shelves. And I had talked to a bunch of people in Memphis because supply was very low. This was the first set in a long time that we were actually allocated on, and it wasn't a small amount. We were drastically cut in the number of boxes that we ordered across both distributors in the US. So that's, not a horrible thing to have happen to you. It could be a situation where, on the one hand, there are so many new stores that are interested in carrying Flesh and Blood that the total amount of product just wasn't available. Or on the other hand, it could mean that LSS, Legend Story Studios, has decided to be a little bit more conservative with their print runs, which means that they actually produced less boxes or are providing less boxes up front to stores. Both of those situations can prevent a occurrence, which is like what we call a race to the bottom, where there's just so much product out there and it's going so fast that every store is just trying to undercut each other by a penny. You start at $100 for a box and it goes to $99 and then $98, $97. And then you get to whatever the current map pricing is, where it's the lowest dollar amount that we are allowed to list prices at. That's when it gets scary, because then you have bad actors in the scene, people who don't actually care about Flesh and Blood, or stores that cannot financially afford to hold on to product. And so they risk their gem accounts by selling boxes below what they are allowed to list them for. And that's a negative for everyone, besides maybe the consumer in some cases, because it means that stores that follow the rules are losing out on sales to stores that are not following the rules. It means that the expected value of the box is probably plummeting. So it's a unique situation. We do not have that problem with the hunted. In fact, it seems like we have the opposite issue, where there's so little product to go around that boxes are just flying. It's crazy. So we're in a situation now where if I called up my two vendors, the two that are in the US, and I asked for hunted, the response would be, in the one case, we have no hunted, and I don't know when we're getting more hunted. And then the other option is, hey, we can get you 8 boxes a week. Now, if you're a very small store, or maybe you don't have a vibrant FAB community, 8 boxes a week is fine. That'll hold you over, no problem. Today is what, Wednesday? Today's Tuesday, sorry. Tuesday the 18th, when this is being filmed. If I called up my distributor and I said, hey, I want 1,000 boxes, and they were able to send them to me, I would take them in a heartbeat, because the boxes are worth so much money to open right now. It's insane. So let's talk a little bit more about that. So when boxes are in low supply, right? We're talking about supply and demand here. When there are not many boxes, the natural result is that prices go up. So there was a point where we sold several cases in Memphis for $500 a case, simply because we didn't have the product. I had a couple cases left, and it was sell them for a price that made sense to us, or bring them home and open them for singles. So you have to evaluate, if I were to save those cases and bring them home and open them up for singles, we think that $500 price range probably would have been the value there. So instead, we offered them to some of the customers that were local. Most people traded stuff in to buy them. Thankfully, that price has settled down, and now we're currently selling cases at about $420 a piece. The problem is that I'm now running out of singles. And typically the result there is, hey, you just open up some boxes and you pull more singles, or you try to fire up the buy list engine and you get people to send you more cards. Well, the problem is that Hunted is so valuable right now that customers are not selling us Hunted singles in quantities or in the pace that we need to keep up with demand. And secondly, I don't have boxes open. So we're in this very unique situation that I think is great right now for the community, in that when you do purchase a box and you open it, there's a very good chance that you're going to make money or get your money back. The goal in any sealed purchase should be that whatever you pay for it, and when you open the cards, it should be close to the value of the box. Now, that's not a guarantee, right? This is obviously, it depends on the box. Some boxes have a lot more value in them than others, but on average, you want to be close to break even. Each individual person is also going to value the opening experience. There should be a financial value to that, whether it's sitting there and fiending over one box and cracking it really quickly, or sitting down and drafting with some friends. Right now, we are looking at a baseline for legendaries at about $52 is what I totaled it at. That means that if you were to only open the bare bones basic version of all the legendaries, no cold foils, no extended arts, just the basic version, the average value is $52, which is a wonderful value for legendaries for the base value. That's awesome, considering that there are much more expensive versions available on the market as well. Your EV for this box is insane. If you can get boxes anywhere around $100, it's really not a bad deal. You're going to open up gas. You're going to have a great time with this set. So it's really a great place to be if you're looking for a box to buy. Now let's talk about some of the singles in the set, right? So the two that stand out the most to me are Shelter from the Storm and Command and Conquer. Shelter has been such a crazy card. We knew day one, but as soon as that card got revealed, sitting with Dando and Levi, and we're talking about, how are we going to price these cards? What is valuable? What is not good? And we looked at that card and we were like, yep, this is going to be a staple in so many decks. It's got so much value to it. Currently, it's sitting at about $80, right? If we're looking at buying a booster box for $100, $105, and there's one card in the set at Majestic level that you can pull that's $80, it's just it's crazy. It's wonderful. It means that boxes are going to be opened en masse. Now, that means eventually Shelter from the Storm should come down in price, right? We're in the middle of RTN season. This is normally a period of time where cards are more expensive. People are looking for them to compete. So now is a market that's high. That's just, it is what it is. It's a high market. It'll go down. How much, though, we don't know. I do not expect Shelter to maintain that $80 price tag if we get a reprint of Hunted. So that's the major caveat here is if I get offered 1,000 boxes and I can open 1,000 boxes and flood the market with more singles, then supply and demand average out and then the average price goes down. If we do not see a major Hunted restock, it is very possible that these singles go up. And that is concerning to me for the long run. I had said it a million times in Memphis. This is great. Cards being expensive, boxes being expensive right at release is wonderful. It's great for the game. It's great for people who want to open stuff. It is not great long-term. And we are starting to enter that long-term phase. So it'll be really interesting to see how LSS responds to this. There's some level where I'm sure they can make adjustments, right? They probably, I don't know for a fact, but I assume there is some product held off to the side for emergencies, right? A shipment gets destroyed. People start opening a box, and then we realize that they're all miscut in a bad way that they can't be used. Stores don't get allocations like they were supposed to. I'm sure they've got products set to the side to help mitigate things that are just outside of our normal control. I don't think that's a lot of product, though. On the other hand, is they could be doing what other games do, and that's where they produce product in waves. So the initial printing process, they print, we're just going to say 100 boxes. And during that printing process of 100, they're only going to allow 20 of those boxes into the market at a time. then they'll do another 20 and another 20. That way, distributors, players, stores can digest the product in a way that things don't sit on the shelf too long. It's not considered toxic because it's not moving. I don't honestly know. The other thing that we could see is that LSS says, wow, we underprinted this set, not because their expectations weren't met, but because they were vastly exceeded. I thought I heard James or Brian say somewhere that the demand for this set was unprecedented. They did not expect to sell this much this fast, which is a great thing because that means the game is growing, and that's what we want as a community. But it does mean that there may be some growing pains. So as soon as I find out more information from distributors, from LSS, from anybody, I'll let you guys know as well. And we'll obviously make adjustments accordingly. But going forward, I would say if you can pick up a box anywhere shy of $110, it's not a bad deal. Also, a little side note, it's been pretty rough being a store over the past 3 months. There's this weird feeling in card games where you have this store, it's your local community, it's a place that you play, you expect them to take care of you. But at the same time, it's a company and they need to make money. They need to turn a profit in order to pay for their employees, for everything. You know, healthcare is not cheap. Providing access to 401ks, days off, you know, things like that. It's not cheap as a business owner. So when there are situations where you are able to capitalize and actually make some money, I'm looking at you, Pokemon, right now. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy that so many people can be upset and angry at you for trying to pay your bills. So if your LGS has hunted boxes and they're over 105, maybe they're 110, 115, $120, they probably can't buy more, right? So they're raising that price because on the one hand, they know that they can sell those boxes for that price because there's no more available. It's just basic supply and demand. And on the other hand, the boxes have so much value in them that you're not getting a bad deal when you're buying a box at $110, $115. Now, if the EV of the box was like what Monarch is currently, and they're asking you to spend $120, $140, that can be a little bit more difficult. But because there's so much juice currently to squeeze out of these boxes, please do not be upset with your LGS if they are trying to actually make a small profit on a product that is limited. All right, so let's talk about the demand for this game as a whole. I'm seeing crazy stuff online, which is great because we're kind of feeling it ourselves that RTN season has been amazing. Stores are selling out of locations. Their pre-releases are insane. Armories are up. Our armory itself is seeing record attendance. We recently made an adjustment to our armories where we are no longer charging for entry, but the only price support is the gem pack itself. So we're testing this out to see what it's functioning at. Do we still profit off of these events? Is it great for the community? So we're still rolling with that, but we've had a couple armories at this point, and I think we have had more in sales because of it and a higher attendance. So somebody on Blue Sky this morning or yesterday mentioned that a downtown Chicago armory had 32 players. And last night it was negative degrees. So these people went into the city with literal life-threatening temperatures to play games of Flesh and Blood, which is insane and awesome to see. I had mentioned, I think in the last market video or sometime around there, that we had done a lot of business with Blitz decks. That's kind of changed. I have not seen a massive influx of Blitz decks come through our system. And that might partially be just the change in dynamic. Now that Armory decks are a little bit more being pushed as the entry-level position product, we could start seeing that being more of a thing. The problem that I have with that is, for instance, the Jarl deck. We ended up selling our Jarl decks way higher than we wanted to. The goal would have been to have those readily available for new customers, but we have so many entrenched long-term playing customers that wanted those decks for the cards inside for the competitive field, that being limited to only 12 or 24 decks just is not enough to even satiate a drop of the demand that we specifically have. So I would love to see Armory decks expanded. I understand wanting to keep them more limited to make sure that they hold their value. Maybe we see a future iteration of the IRA welcome deck that we could have to give out. Magic does a wonderful job of providing free introductory decks. They have zero financial value. You don't have to worry about stores trying to like hawk them for singles. It'd be really cool to offer something similar to that in-house. Now we do have commoner decks and stuff like that, but having a very nicely packaged product, because I am a sucker for packaging. The amount of board games that I've purchased just because the box looked nice, that's all it takes for me. I don't care how it plays. I want the box to look nice. So if we could have a really nice, simple packaging of something like that where I could hand off and then the customer feels like they're getting something of extreme value that doesn't cost me the store anything to promote this product, that'd be wonderful. So if anyone at LSS is watching, let me know. I've got ideas. We'll be a test market, no problem. But one new metric that I'm watching is that in the last 30 days, our new customer singles purchases are up 109% over last year. So this same period of time over last year, we have a 109% increase in new customers. That means customers that have never purchased from us before, all for singles. Now, I do want to asterisk that with that last 3 months has been hunted, right? So it's possible that some of those are not new players to the game, but maybe just new to us because we happen to have product on hand. Maybe these are customers that were in Prague or in Memphis and needed to do pickups. But regardless, that's a massive growth in new customers. Our returning customers were also insanely up, but that specific new customer number is really great to see. The other side, and I'm going to go back because I kind of trampled over Shelter. We also have Command & Conquer. This was kind of like the big question, right, with the market was, where's Command & Conquer going to be? Is introducing a Command & Conquer at the legendary rarity going to actually impact the total number of cards and all of that? I think we're still in the very early process of seeing where this card is going to end up. But seeing that white border Command & Conquers, which is the best border we have, white border is by far the best border we have, unfortunately also the cheapest, is in the $70 range now. It's high 70s, but it was not that long ago that this white border card was almost $90, if not higher. That is a traumatic change, and I think that is a wonderful thing to see. Once again, just like Shelter, and just like all these cards in general, if I get offered another 1,000 boxes and I get to open up more product, more CNCs are going to be pushed into the system. And I think we're going to start to see a price decrease overall on Command & Conquer. I see that followed up with consumer habits because I currently have, coming back from Memphis, we had more Command & Conquers in stock than we ever have any time ever in the history of our company, which is a scary thing to see because it's like, are we going to be sitting on all these Command & Conquers? Is this card just going to be phased out? Did I just destroy myself on buying these cards? But we are selling them. I think as the price goes down, there's that level of player that said, you know what? I'm going to go to 3 armories a month. I'm going to jam games. I'm going to buy, my Evo tunic. But no way am I spending a couple $100 on Command & Conquers. Now they're like, well, you know what? I bought a hunted box and I had a quick dodge and I sold the quick dodge and now I've got cash and a Command & Conquer. Maybe I'll do that again. So it's cool to see that kind of level of play slowly increasing because at least in our market, we have a very hyper-competitive scene, which can make it difficult for new players to come in. But when new players do come in that have that mindset of wanting to play against the best, wanting to actually succeed, it's really cool to see that change in armories where all of a sudden I'm not going 0-3, 0-4, I'm going 1-3, and then I'm going 2-2, and then all of a sudden I'm positive, and then, stuff like that is really cool to see. So Command & Conquers, I think we will see a price go down. I think we'll overall see that to start coming down to a more reasonable number, in my opinion. I think Shelter will start to come down as well, only if we see reprints of the Hunted. That's not up to me. But as soon as I do have a hand in that, as soon as the boxes come in, we'll do our best to help to alleviate that aspect of the market. The one thing that is kind of crazy is the high-end market. So when we're talking about gold foils, slabs, alpha cards. It's just rough. It's really rough. One of the worst things that happened in Memphis was we had, I'm going to say, between Memphis and Prague, I'm going to say we were offered at least 40 to 50 gold foils. We purchased one. The paradigm shift between the perceived value of a gold foil and the actual market for them is so far off that it creates almost an uncomfortable situation, right? I have to prepare myself whenever someone comes and brings us a gold foil because, number one, I don't want to offend this person because they came about that gold foil in one of two ways. One, they worked their butts off and they earned it in an event, and it's like literally their prize, right? Or number two, they love the deck so much, or they love the hero type so much that they said, you know what, I'm going to buy this because this is the highest rarity version of this card and I want to own it. In both cases, there's a lot of sentimental value. And when someone comes up and offers a price and my counter is less than half of theirs, it can be very just a feel bad moment. You know, we like to try to walk our customers through, our potential customers as well, of saying like, all right, so this is my price. This is what I'm going to sell it at. And this is how long I think I'm going to have to hold on to it because of that. There's just, the demand is just, it's such a unique place. This deserves its own video. So I think we're going to be producing that pretty soon. And then on the other hand, slab cards. MinMaxGames is a store that sells cards to play. We do not take slabs. We do, but then we crack them all. So it's not uncommon for people to bring us slab cards, you know, 9.5s, 10s, and they say, you know, I would like a price on this. And we're like, yeah, I can give you raw price. We will not sell it as a 10. We will not sell it as a 9.5. We will crack them. My personal opinion and the store's opinion on slabs is that it's just not our market. We believe that cards are meant to be played with, and having cards slabbed makes it very difficult to put them in your deck. Is there a market for it? Yes. Is there value? Yes. In a certain place at a certain time, I 100% believe that there's important aspects to the slab market, but we are not one of them. But when we're looking at the high-end market overall, you know, I was looking at that Command & Conquer, and I was looking at a first edition one, and the price difference is not that big. So high-end is down. Right? Maybe we're entering a new phase of this game where it's a player's game. We don't necessarily care as much about the crazy fancy. We just want to play the game. But once again, the high-end market deserves its own video. It deserves its own discussion because it is a very unique animal, and it's a very important part of a TCG world. We need cards that are extremely valuable. We need to have that level of collectability and that stability in someone saying, I'm going to open up an alpha box. We'll look at, we have one alpha box left. All right, this is in our case, and it's not going anywhere. I don't know if you can tell, probably not. Maybe you can. It's signed by the man himself, James White. It's just a very cool piece of flesh and blood history, but I'm not opening it. That's not what this box is going to be for. That's just going to be sitting on a shelf, letting other people see it, and you know, maybe in our 20-year anniversary, we'll do an alpha draft or something. But as a whole, the high-end market is just so unique, and it's hard to develop pricing for this stuff. So we'll talk about more of that in the future. But in general, high-end is down. Player attendance is up. Hunted is insane. And we are extremely excited to start playing with Pirates soon. So hopefully I'll have an update soon, and we'll talk about this next set. And if you guys have any specific things you want to hit on with the market, if you want explanations on how a store does arbitrage, if you want to know how we do buy lists, any weird things, how many dusk blades do we have, you know, we can talk about whatever. So if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the section below, and we'll talk to you soon.